Welcome to the Do Zone, where entrepreneurs go to get things done. I'm your host, Josh Thomas. You can find me on all social media at JT Literally. Each week, I bring on experts from a variety of backgrounds to share their secrets on how to optimize performance so you can take massive action and crush your goals. The Do Zone is sponsored by Conversational Funnels. The easiest way to get more sales is to get more chances to sell. We used one simple conversational funnel to casually book 121 qualified sales opportunities in less than 2 weeks in a brand new market where we had zero presence and zero connections, all without spending on ads, doing cold outreach, or posting endlessly on social media. This is the new way to close high-ticket clients for 2025, and it only takes minutes to start booking calls. Download the blueprint for free at conversationalfunnels.com. Today's guest is Laurens Tijssen. Laurens is a self-determined digital entrepreneur who embarked on his online journey at the age of 14, receiving his first online payment in 2015. Navigating life through digital business, Laurens has collaborated with 7 to 8 figure entrepreneurs, including celebrities, and has worked across various sectors such as service-based businesses globally, crypto projects, and real estate. Laurens, welcome to the Do Zone. Tell me something you believe is the key to getting stuff done that most people wouldn't think of.
Yeah, I think it's actually something most people will think of too, but you have to stretch it further. So what I would say is it's very important to plan out what you want to do and what you need to do. I live a very calendar-based life myself, and what I found is that you want to test out what works for yourself. There's many courses, many, tips and things like that. I personally think that you should really outline what to do, and just keep it with that. Like the better you do that, the more you get done, in my opinion.
So you said that you're a very calendar oriented person. You're speaking to my soul. Tell me more about that.
Yeah, so what I actually recently found out is the more pressure I put on myself, to say it that way, with the amount of things to do, the less friction I have. I don't think anyone is perfectly perfect. You always want to have some sort of idealistic goal of how many things you do, what you want to do every week, and things like that. And I personally have some events in my calendar, even as like going to the gym next to, meetings and all that stuff. But the more actually events and tasks I have in my calendar, the less friction there is. Even if I don't do anything out of my full list, I always do much more because I really fill up my calendar, which is different than just saying, okay, I have my notes and these are the tasks I want to do. No, I actually commit a time day by day. And that's for me like one of the most effective things I've changed in the last few months.
And I've been straddling that line for a long time where, all right, I got my list, I got to knock out my list. And then I got my tasks on my calendar, I got to knock those out. And a lot of times what happens for me is I set out the day with the best of intentions, and then something knocks me off. And then all of a sudden, well, I got this thing at 11, but I can push it off a few minutes. And that's where everything gets skewed. So how do you keep that kind of scope creep in check?
Yeah, it's such a good point. And I think that's the most difficult thing. And that's why I say like there's friction, right? Like it can happen. Maybe it's something which is out of your control or you're just really out of your energy. Like things will always happen that are not, planned as you want it to be. So the way I plan my calendar is kind of to setting myself up for success. And I do that by structuring it in such a way where I say, okay, cool. On Monday, I will plan out my week. I do this for myself. It takes like 2, 3 hours and I really plan out my whole week. But you also want to have some moments that will give you more energy. And that's why I also think it's important to find out what works for yourself. So for me, I take notes to go to the gym, which is something I just want to track every day too, because it helps me to stay on that path. And throughout the actual schedule, it obviously depends on what you're doing. I'm working remotely, I have my own business, so I'm able to plan the whole day in a way that really is designed to help me accomplish as much as I can. Personally, I have like a full scheduled work block in the morning, and then I have like kind of like a break, including the gym, in the afternoon before I start like my second block of work. Now, that structure has been super helpful to me because I also have my break planned in there. I have some high leverage activities I usually do in the morning, but I also have the break out of that. I also go outside or exercise or even walk which I think is super important because you can't operate fully as a robot, right? So you have to have some moments that will help you energize between your task and between your days.
Yeah, excellent. And so I'm curious, just kind of segueing into what you do for a living. One of the things that we're always trying to do as entrepreneurs is we're trying to make sure that we show up when people are looking for us, and a lot of ways that we associate showing up where people want us, where people are looking, is SEO. But you tend to take a different approach to this, and that's maximizing and optimizing your brand's position. So tell me more about what's the difference between SEO and brand positioning? And second,
Yes.
what are some strategies for that?
Yeah, so usually when it comes to SEO, people think of a very technical approach, which is a lot of what SEO in itself is, right? And there's kind of two sides of it. It's the actual optimization. If you create a website page, a blog, even a social media page, which I can elaborate on, every item on Google, every item on the internet will be indexed as a search result. So you can find ways to improve that search result, which is basically what SEO is, right? Like you're finding a way to put this in the title or use these keywords and things like that, which is all the technical side. And next to that, you have the nuance kind of it. Like it has to take time. You need to have certain amount of visitors that Google gives you the authority, things like that. So that is the whole SEO picture very quickly described. Now, what I tend to focus on the most is actually leveraging platforms and actually allowing yourself to be positioned in a powerful way. Now, we have a PR company where essentially we help clients to create an ecosystem. Like we're actually giving them various forms of PR that help them amplify their authority, their credibility. We use article placements, TV segments, billboards, podcast, all in such a way that it helps you sell people before they hop on a call with you. It's all about the step zero, everything that happens before people go on a call with you. And optimizing your Google brand search result is a part of that. If you are looking for someone who can help you with whatever it's advertising or building your funnel or whatever financial service, it could be everything, or somebody reach out to you and you look up that person's name or you look up the brand's name and you see a lot of information, it gives more trust, it gives more credibility. And that's a huge part of that. So a few strategies for that, which are very simple things to do. If you're looking from a personal brand perspective, the thing I always advise is to claim a website domain with your personal name. I have it too, and if you look at my name, you see my website, you see my social media, you see my press results, and it's literally designed to be in such a way. So claiming your domain name, it's like a direct search result, which is a very easy hack to show up. Next to that, what?
Unless you have a really common name like Josh Thomas, which apparently is
Yes.
an Australian comedian, an NFL player, and there's like some other guy, and I'm like
Mm.
18th on the list.
Yes, that's true. That's actually very true. Like there's a nuance to it, of course. Like if you have more of like a common name, it will be difficult because you have to outrank other people. Now, the best approach in that, depending on your situation, is usually to add something to your name. It could be two letters, whatever it could be. But if you are, for example, an entrepreneur and there's like a famous athlete, it's very hard to outperform that because an
Yeah.
athlete gets more authority by Google. They get naturally more press and all these things. So it's very hard to compete in some cases if your name is like too similar, you could say. But there are ways to work around that. You could add like a keyword to it or something like that. But it's a good
It,
point you're bringing up.
interesting that you mentioned that. So I I met two people recently that both simply added a letter to in the front of their name. And both of them, coincidentally, the letter was M. And one of them introduced herself as I think it was Teresa Ward, M. Teresa Ward, and the M stands for Maximum Google. It's like I just put the M on there so that people will
Mhm.
find me better.
Yeah, it's just making it more unique. But the whole Google part of it is only like a part. It's really like one component. Because even if your name or even if you worry about not being excellent or not having impressions, whatever that could be, it's not only about the first visibility. It's also how you leverage everything in your own position to make the most powerful version of yourself. And a very simple example of that is, for example, on your social media pages or on your website, you should add testimonials of people you work with. It's a very straightforward thing, and people in the marketing world know this. But that's how you increase the trust and the awareness of how you engage with new people, existing clients, things like that. And even if you're not having a very huge audience or not a lot of impressions, or your name doesn't show up right away, if people do see your page, or they are visiting you, or they are speaking to you in some way, having an ecosystem, actually having various forms of, let's say, PR, press, a nice website, all those things will really contribute to how you know, have conversations with people in business. So
Yeah. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And so it's almost like flipping the script a little bit where you're not necessarily searching this super competitive term and then they're finding you, but after they've already met you, now they're looking you up to see if you're legit. And you need to be able to show up and have a decent presence so that people can say, "Oh, okay, this person is legit." So it's kind of like the second tier of the search, if you will.
yeah, that's a very nice way to put it, and it's very true. Like it's very hard to compete, and there's millions of people. Even in the entrepreneurial space, there's so many people. So you want to be able to stand out. Um, and you could be very achieved. Like you could have many success. You could have, you know, tons of experiences. But if you don't know how to put it out there, if you don't know how to leverage it in the eyes of your prospect, you don't have that success, right? Like if you're not sharing your stories, nobody knows about them. So you really have to take that into account, whatever you're doing when it comes to marketing and personal branding.
Awesome. Yeah, I love that. And so I'm curious, who are the types of clients that you can get the best results for, and where can we go to learn a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so we actually worked with many different industries. I've personally worked with a ton of industries too. But the type of clients I really love to work with the most are some sort of people who are pretty already established. We have a lot of clients coming to us who are already in Forbes, they're already doing TV things. But since some people are more established and they have certain things in place, we can really amplify that for them. And it doesn't mean they have to be major successful, but just having the first two steps of the business completed, where they do have an audience, they do have an existing client base, that position really allows us to help them from taking them to the, you know, established entrepreneur they are, to really being that thought leader, that one person in their industry. And with that being said, for everybody who's checking out, I have a free Google guide. So if you want to learn more how to optimize your brand results, check out more of that. That free guide is there, and you can definitely check that out.
Okay, and where can we go to get that?
It's on my personal website, so it's my personal name, Google Guide. But on any social media, you can find me. There's a way to get it too.
Okay, just look up your name anywhere and you'll show up.
Yep,
You're the only Lawrence Tayson in existence.
exactly. So I've made my sure that I'm the only one showing up that's existing.
Excellent. Cool. Good to know. And well, hey, we're going to wrap up from here. Thanks so much to our guest, Lawrence Tayson, for sharing a little bit of wisdom about how he gets stuff done and going deep on that. And also how you can uh, get focused on showing up for your personal brand as a good verification of people who've already found you. For those of you who are interested, you can look him up anywhere on social media, Lawrence Tayson. And whether you're on your morning commute, in the gym, or somewhere out in the field, you can snap a selfie, tag me at JT Literally. Show me what you do while you're in the do zone. And one more time, if you want to stuff your calendar with qualified and motivated ideal clients who want what you have, download the Conversational Funnels Blueprint for free at conversationalfunnels.com. That's it. Let's get to work. Hey, thanks for listening to the Do Zone podcast. If you're running a service-based business that's looking to grow this year, let's talk about how we can slingshot you into momentum with a quick injection of cash and sales. Our clients typically see results in as little as 7 days. To learn more about what we do, you could go to factor1.io. Once again, that's factor1.io. We'll see you next time.